Aquarius is a sign admired by many for their brilliant mind, their elegant rebellion, and that unique ability to see the world from angles most people would never even imagine. Behind their calm demeanor, behind their relaxed appearance and almost unshakable serenity, there exists a silent ego, one that doesn't shout, but one you can unmistakably feel. It doesn't try to dominate or impose itself. Instead, it seeks to be recognized for its difference, for its vision, for its singular way of existing.
Aquarius doesn't need to raise their voice to mark territory. They do it through their thoughts, their independence, and that subtle aura of someone who knows they are light years away from the ordinary. To understand their ego is to walk into a world where logic blends with intuition, where freedom is sacred, and where the mind dictates the rhythm of everything. This is the invisible shadow that accompanies Aquarius. Not a shadow that destroys, but one that protects their essence, protects the identity they've built with silence, distance, and a mind that never stops moving.
Aquarius fiercely defends their autonomy. Their mind works like a private laboratory where every experience is analyzed, deconstructed, rebuilt, and reimagined. From a young age, they learn to trust themselves, trust their logic, their intellectual intuition, their internal compass. And although they seem detached, what they're really protecting is their mental freedom. Their silent ego surfaces the moment they feel that any bond, expectation, or advice might threaten that freedom they've worked so hard to construct. Yet it rarely manifests as open rebellion. Instead, it appears as a subtle emotional retreat. When someone tries to influence their decisions too strongly, Aquarius doesn't argue. They disconnect. Quietly. Cleanly. As if flipping an inner switch.
They don't do it to hurt. They do it because feeling emotionally tied or controlled triggers a deep instinct, an instinct that says protect your mind first. But this silence, from the outside, can easily be misunderstood as coldness or indifference. In reality, it's fear. Fear of losing their mental sovereignty. Fear of losing the space they need to breathe. Aquarius must learn that needing someone doesn't destroy independence. It doesn't diminish intelligence. It doesn't erase identity. Opening the heart does not weaken autonomy. In fact, it often strengthens it. Aquarius lives mentally in the future. Their mind is always 2 steps ahead, exploring possibilities others haven't considered yet. This gift is extraordinary, but it is also fertile ground for their silent ego. When Aquarius becomes convinced that their perspective is more evolved, more logical, or more progressive, they begin to treat others as if they were stuck in outdated patterns. The ego does not speak loudly. It speaks with calm superiority. They listen to others, yes. They even consider opposing viewpoints. But deep down, they feel they've already reached the conclusion that makes the most sense. When someone tries to contradict them, Aquarius rarely fights. They simply detach emotionally and continue believing in their version of truth. Their silent ego is born from something real. They do see what others miss. But they must remember that wisdom lives not only in logic, but also in emotional experience, something they often underplay or dismiss. No sign masters detachment like Aquarius. But contrary to what people think, this detachment is not always natural. Often, it is trained, learned, built over years of protecting a rich inner world. They create distance from emotions, rationalizing everything, watching life from the highest mental vantage point they can reach. This gives them clarity, but it also feeds a subtle ego that makes them believe they manage emotions better because they don't drown in them the way others do. Their silent ego emerges when they encounter someone intensely emotional or vulnerable. Instead of empathy, their internal reaction is, they shouldn't feel this way. They don't say it, but they think it.
They believe others complicate things unnecessarily, dramatize life, or allow emotions to govern what should be ruled by logic. From this elevated mental perch, Aquarius disconnects to avoid what they perceive as emotional chaos. But the lesson is simple. Feeling is not a weakness. It is another way of processing life, one that is neither inferior nor chaotic. It is deeply human, and sometimes it reveals truth the mind alone cannot see.
Aquarius carries a visceral need to feel authentic. This is not rebellion for attention. This is not adolescent pride. This is an internal mandate, one so strong that trying to fit in makes them feel dimmed, false, or even self-betrayed. Their identity is built from layers of originality, unique ideas, and perspectives crafted through time, solitude, and introspection. This is why when someone tries to guide them, shape them, or suggest how they should live, Aquarius feels a direct threat to their essence.
Their silent ego reacts instantly. Not with arguments, not with explosions, but with an icy emotional wall no one crosses easily. They don't reject advice because they think others are stupid. They reject it because they fear being molded into something they are not. This ego activates especially when well-intentioned people try to help by offering directions, opinions, or formulas for life. Aquarius interprets this as limitation, domestication, or subtle control. They shut down emotionally and continue on their path with a calmness more powerful than any scream. But the irony is that their need for total uniqueness can become a double-edged sword. In their effort to remain untouchable, they may reject opportunities just because they didn't originate from their own mind, or isolate themselves in their vision, forgetting that authenticity does not require rejecting everything around them. True originality does not fear collaboration. It knows how to filter, not fear. It knows how to integrate without losing itself. When Aquarius embraces this, their ego softens and their creativity magnifies. Aquarius is a sign filled with high ideals. Their heart is tied to the collective, to progress, to change, to helping humanity think in freer, wider ways. But this noble impulse can transform into a subtle ego, the belief that they hold a more conscious, enlightened, or evolved perspective. They give advice without being asked. They correct ideas naturally. They feel disbelief when someone chooses a traditional or emotionally driven path. They cannot understand why anyone would choose predictability when there is an entire universe of possibilities. From their elevated mental vantage point, they truly believe they're helping, guiding, inspiring. And their intentions are genuine. But what they don't always realize is that this guidance can feel like invalidation, like the other person is being seen as less aware, less open, less awakened. Aquarius does not want power. They do not want followers, control, or admiration. What they want is awakening. They want people to grow. They want the collective to evolve. But they must learn a fundamental truth. No one awakens by force. People awaken when they are ready, on their own timelines, with their own inner maps. When Aquarius understands this, their savior ego transforms into their greatest gift, the ability to inspire through example rather than expectation. The essence of the silent ego. The silent ego of Aquarius is not aggressive, but it is firm. Not loud, but absolutely present. It is built from freedom, vision, and a profound desire to remain loyal to themselves, even if no one else understands. Aquarius does not seek approval. They seek coherence. They do not want to control your life. They want to protect their own. And when you finally understand this, you stop seeing them as cold or distant. You begin to see them as a soul that needs mental space to breathe, emotional distance to feel safe, and intellectual movement to stay alive. Their ego is their defense, their filter, their way of preventing the world from shaping them into something they are not. And although connecting with them can sometimes be challenging, once you break through that invisible wall, you discover a deeply loyal, profoundly authentic, and surprisingly human individual. Human in their oddness, their complexity, and their brilliant peculiarity. Have you ever encountered an Aquarius with this silent ego? Have you ever felt that invisible wall they build to protect themselves? Share your experience below. Your story may help others understand the mysterious and fascinating world of Aquarius.